Before we begin, we want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Levy for hosting. This is the second time that we've had a function here in the house, and each time they outdid themselves. And we hope that they have a lot of nachas from the yeshiva, from the Mesivta, and from their nephew. Before we talk about the Mesivta, many of you have heard about the yeshiva, and I want to talk a little bit briefly about Carteret. 11 years ago, really 11 and a half years ago, myself and Rabbi Brown were learning in Ner Yisrael. We're already learning there for almost a decade, each of us. And we discussed starting a yeshiva, starting a Beis Medrash. And when we discussed starting a Beis Medrash, the first place we turned were our Rebbeim, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Yeshiva, the Anhala of the Yeshiva. And ever since then, from the first discussion we had concerning the Yeshiva, Ner Yisrael has been involved in every major and minor and trivial, maybe, decision that has gone in the Yeshiva. We've always turned to our Rebbeim, turned to them for advice, turned to them for direction, and they've been very supportive of the Yeshiva. And as we embark now on starting a Mesivta, when I just called up the Mashgiach, Rabbi Weisborn just mentioned to him that maybe it would be a chizuk for us if he would be able to make a trip which takes a couple of hours, hopping on a train, running around. He said without a problem, he didn't flinch at all, to come and to just grace this open house with a few minutes of his speaking, and it's a tremendous chizuk for us to have someone who we constantly turn to for hadracha here just to address the Olam.
So, welcome to Shalom. And Achsanya, I can't be the one who's welcoming everybody. It's not my place. But on behalf of the yeshiva and the Mesivta, I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to share two thoughts with you about from the coming parsha, and then I'd like to talk to you a bit about what I think is germane to the purpose of our gathering here this evening. We find in the beginning of Parshas Vayechi that Yaakov Avinu calls Yosef HaTzadik, and he says to him, if I please find favor in your eyes, take a shvur, please, and don't take a shvur that you won't bury me in Mitzrayim. You know, when we were kids, they used to give out papers for homework, me or Maral me. Me or Maral me. Yaakov Avinu is talking to Yosef HaTzadik. Yaakov Avinu that gave Yosef everything that he had. All the Torah he learned in Shem Ve'ever, he gave to Yosef HaTzadik. He gave him Ksenes Pasim. Everything that happened to him. They were like twins almost. Yaakov was Meiser Nefesh for Yosef. And Yaakov was begging him, please, if I find favor in your eyes. He's his father. He's Yaakov HaTzadik. Yaakov Avinu. He's the Bechir Ba'avos. He's asking him a Dover Shaltam. He's not asking him Xeris Akos. He's not asking him something that doesn't make any sense. He's asking something that makes a lot of sense. Rashi gives 3 reasons, brings Chazal, why he didn't want to be buried in Mitzrayim. So he has to beg him? So Yerucham Levavit Zechen Levacha says, you see from here an unbelievable thing. Because we're supposed to emulate the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Rebbeinu Shalom, when he does a teva, when he does a chesed, he does it without expecting anything in return. The hatava, a real, complete hatava, shlemistik hatava, means that I'm doing it with nothing, with no no attachment, not expecting anything in return. The one who's the recipient of the hatava should have the moral compass and moral sensitivity to feel hakaras hatov. That's basic. But I, as the one who's being native, I'm the one who's giving, should have no expectation. If I want it to be a complete hatava, I should have no expectation of getting anything in return. That's a complete hatava. Because Yaakov Avinu, this Bechir Shaba'avos, this one who was Ma'aseh Nefesh for the well-being of his son Yosef, he was Mishana Ben Abonim for this Yosef, because he held he was so extraordinary. The Mesiris of Yaakov Avinu to Yosef is incomparable. But the hatava that he had, the way he was native, was in a way that was a hatava that was bishleimus. And that required him to be a person who's native without any expectations. No expectations in return. And Rabbi Yerucham points out, I believe, how would the world look if we all were able to master this form of hatava? And to do hatava b'shleimus, and no matter what I do for you, not to expect anything in return. I can tell you, the world would be a different place. What is it that really aggravates a person? When somebody doesn't do something, doesn't do a kindness for them, or doesn't respond to a request that's being made of them. After all I did for you, I'm asking you something which is seemingly insignificant, and you can't respond positively? You can't honor my request? Right? Isn't that what we feel most of the time? When does it really hurt? It hurts when I was native to you, and I'm asking you for a teva, and you can't even do the teva. If we would be able to do a teva b'shleimus, the way Rabbi Yerucham presents it, if we would be able to do a teva and say, I'm doing this teva because I believe this teva should be done, and I have no expectations for anything in return, that'd be a different world, Rabbi say. One thought. There's another horror I'd like to share with you. A few psukim later, it says that Yaakov Avinu explains to Yosef that I know that when your mother died, I didn't even bring her into Beis Lechem. I buried her on the road. And Yodati sheyesh belibcha alai. I knew that you had feelings about this. You had feelings about this, the fact that I didn't bring your mother into a proper kfura. But you should know, al piyah dibur haya. You should know it wasn't that my idea. The Rebbeinu Shalom was mitzvah me specifically to do this. Now, I just was thinking about this a couple of years ago. I'm thinking to myself, what an odd time for Yaakov Avinu to explain himself to his son. What would we say if somebody came to me and said, look, I'm asking you to do me a favor. Now, I know that you had it in for me because I didn't do the same favor for you when you needed it a while ago. So, but now that I'm asking you, I want the favor, so now I'm going to explain to you. Now you explain to me. Why don't you explain to me then? You know that I have feelings. You know, yesh belibcha alai for years, from the time Rachel was niftera. So now you're telling me because you need me to do you a favor. That's what it seems like. You need me to do you a favor now, so therefore you're asking. Now you're explaining yourself. It makes it sound very suspect, doesn't it? And yet Yaakov Avinu chose now the time as being the time to do it. So I'll tell you what I think. If you have a better explanation, I'm willing to hear it. But I'll tell you what I think. I think that Yaakov Avinu had no question in his mind that his son Yosef did not suspect Yaakov of anything other than doing the exact right thing. Yaakov Avinu understood that Yosef had absolute and with an unquestionable trust in what he was going to do and what he did do. So why is he explaining now? I think the pshat is that it's too much to ask of a person to ask you to do something that I didn't do and expect that it's not going to bother you. The whole time until now it didn't bother him. And Yaakov Avinu was convinced that Yosef HaTzadik had implicit trust in him. And he wasn't going to, he wouldn't question it and it didn't bother him. But now, now that I'm asking you to do for me something that I didn't do for your mother, it's too much to expect that it's not going to bother you. It's not, something's not, so now I have to explain it to you. Trust, to be able to get that kind of trust that a son has in a father, which is unwavering. Son sees his father doing something, even though he may not understand it, even though he may think that maybe something else should be done, he trusts his father. He trusts his father because his father has earned his trust. That's the relationship that we should try to strive for. To try to strive for with our own children. And it comes mastama from the children mirroring what they see in us. If they see that we have that type of derech eretz, we have that type of trust in our rebbeim, in our parents, in the people that we respect, then the chances are good that our children will mirror that type of relationship. At least they'll try to. Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach. We're now getting together on the ground floor of a new undertaking, Be'ez Hashem. I must tell you that we go back, they're too young to go back a long ways, but the Yeshiva go back from being in the Yeshiva Kanan Hara for many, many years. And the Yeshiva has had a tremendous amount of nachas and confidence that these Rosh Yeshivas were going to make a Makom Torah that would be L'Shem Seferis. And they succeeded in doing so. And now, Be'ez Hashem, they want to take it to the next stage. We are proud of their accomplishments until today, and we feel confident that Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, their accomplishments will continue to be in the same gedarim as they were until now. The intention is to be able to make a makom that's going to be in this neighborhood, in the tri-state area, that's going to be L'Shem L'Seferis. It's going to be Tzukot and Salayt, as they say. That the basis is going to be Torah and Yerushalayim, and they're going to do that in a way that's going to allow for their Talmidim to be able to do what Rabbi Yisrael Salanta said. When they asked Rabbi Yisrael Salanta how you're going to be able to see to it that people don't fall prey to Haskalah, when Haskalah was raging then, he said, see to it that the children, or the younger light, the Bachrim, be able to walk down the street with their heads held high, and they should feel proud of what they're doing. They won't have any pain. They're trying to accomplish that, and I believe they will. They're going to be Yisrael Mitzvah in Torah. They're going to learn all that they have to and all that they can in becoming Emes B'nai Torah, and not at the expense of being able to be people that know how to be able to present themselves in the culture with which we live, to be able to be proud, and people to point to them proudly and saying, these are Yeshiva-like. This is the way you're supposed to be. People who are learning, people who are Yerushalayim, and people who know what's going on in the world. I believe I have all the confidence that this is, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, going to be a success and a reality, and the Rebbeinu Shalom Zalman, it should be mevarach with all kinds of brachas. The Rebbeinu Shalom should give us Siyat L'Shmaya.
$11 years is a long time. When we started the yeshiva, the plans were that we were eventually going to start a Masifta. First start with Yeshiva Gedola, and then develop into Masifta. And the conversations we had with our Madrichim, we had many meetings with Rosh Shmuel Kamenetsky Shlita. He pushed us already for a while. He's been pushing us that we should start Masifta. We told him, Rebbe, Yeshiva, we're not ready. I think probably the first 4 years I was here, when I spoke with Rabbi Rosenzweig, the Menal in Yeshiva Ketana, I don't think that there was a day that he didn't ask me, Rabbi Meir, when are you starting your Masifta? I told him, we're not ready yet. The reason, the concern, is really because everybody here, and I have children that have gone through Masifta, I have children in Masiftas, everybody here knows that we always talk about the importance of first year Beis Medrash, and it's true, very important. But a Masifta, taking boys, young boys, and it's much more profound. It's such an important decision. It's so meaningful and it makes a difference in their life, they're not grown up. Maybe when they're 18 years old, not grown up. But certainly, less mandapolig, I think, maybe the kids disagree sometimes, but less mandapolig than when they're 12, 13, 14, the place that you're going to put them is going to mold them, is going to build them. And frankly, to tell you the truth, myself and Rabbi Brown, we felt uncomfortable with, we felt nervous. That's an awesome responsibility. And that's been all the years. However, through the past 11 years, both myself and Rabbi Brown, as we've had boys coming out of Mesiftas, we have been in basically every Mesifta I know in all of America, but certainly in the East Coast and in the West Coast and every place in between. We've been there. We've visited the Mesiftas. We've had boys that came from the Mesiftas. We've learned a little bit more about the Umnis, a little bit more. It's Hashem. We've learned a little bit more about it. That goes with experience from we call family experience. Rabbi Brown's uncle is the Manal in Eretz Yisrael. My Shver has been a Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael, the 12th grade Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael he's been a Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael for 40 plus years. We see that we see what is needed. But even more than that, we were waiting till we found somebody that we thought could do the job properly. We've been looking for a while till we found someone that we thought would have the koach, would have the organizational skills, would have the feeling for every bachar, someone who's going to daig over your children, over our children, someone who's going to worry, did this boy learn well? Is he happy? Is he growing? Someone who's going to say that there's a responsibility here also. We have to have a department, an English department, that teaches the boys in a menschliche way to be a mensch, to show responsibility, to be responsible, and all obviously everything wrapped around with Yiras Shamayim and striving for Yedias HaTorah and for Gadlus B'Torah, and that's really what myself and Rabbi Brown were looking for, to gain a view of what's needed, and also find the right person. Rabbi Ruach, who is our Manal, has been with the yeshiva for now, by us. He's been taking care of Night Seder, in charge of Night Seder, for the past 4 years, and before that he was here for a year for longer. Besides that, he has tremendous amount of experience dealing with all of our Bachrim, but dealing with, he runs a kollel in Staten Island. Tremendous amount of experience, and every single step of the way, he's been one step ahead. And that's really what we want when we all look for our children. We want someone who's going to care for them and think, is this what he's getting? Not right now, not worry about the problem when it happens, but being a step ahead, thinking ahead. That's really what we want when we're looking for someone who's going to take care of our children. And for us, it's a covered gadol that Rabbi Roth is agreed to do this, to take upon himself this undertaking. Myself and Rabbi Brown, together with Rabbi Roth, will Mirz Hashem work for every single bachar that enters our yeshiva. He's a part of our family. He's a part of our achrayas. And Rabbi Roth will now give a little bit more of a tzura of what the Mesifta is all about.
Shos Aviloy Chami Rosh Yeshiva Kol HaKol Choshev Hazeh. After such an introduction, I can't say I agree to everything the Rosh Yeshiva said. Probably don't agree to any of it. Like Yosef said, V'lodei Alikim Yanis Shleim Parei. It's all, anything that was accomplished and anything that stands to be accomplished is all the Siyata D'Shmaya of Hashem. Probably b'schus the Rosh Yeshiva. I don't know other Gedolei Torah on their caliber. And I'm zeicha to be the shliach, and I'm thankful for that. Tefillah is that should be with Hatzlacha. I must say that over the past few weeks I've been calling parents, and I've been quite impressed with the level of concern that parents have for the well-being and the steiging of their children. Very impressive. It's an eye-opener for me. It's new capacity. I've been making phone calls to people for other things, not for recruiting their children, for a yeshiva, for a masifta, and I'm very impressed with the concern and the ibergiyavkeit that parents have for their children. And it's reminded me of a short vart I heard from my Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Shmuel Birmingham Zatzal. I learned in the Mir. Rav Shmuel posed the question on this past week's parsha. The famous words Yosef HaTzadik said when he revealed himself to his brothers. He said, "Ani Yosef ha'oid avichai." I am Yosef. Is my father still alive? And these words catch us off guard because Yehuda had just spoken at length with Yosef HaTzadik. And he had told Yosef, we need Binyamin back. What do we need Binyamin back for? Because we have a father. He's not going to be able to manage that Binyamin. We have to bring him back. Avdecha Orav Asanara took responsibility to bring him back. And here you're revealing yourself, okay, you're Yosef. Is my father still alive? Where were you for the past hour? Where were you for the past few days? Don't you realize? So the Beis HaLevi explains that Yosef was giving a message to the brothers. He was giving them a Musar Shmuz. And he was telling them, why is it that now, all of a sudden, you are so concerned with the well-being of your father? What happened when you sold me into slavery? Where was your father then? You're so concerned with the well-being of your father, you have to bring Binyamin back to him. So how did you find it within your conscience to go and sell me out into slavery? There's a contradiction. Your words contradict your actions. And Yosef, this is what Yosef told Yehuda. The question is, though, what remains to be explained is, what were the Shvatim thinking? They were Shiftei Kol. They definitely didn't intend on harming Yaakov Avinu by selling Yosef into slavery. It's one thing if you want to get rid of Yosef, but to do that to Yaakov, how could you do that? There must have been some other means that they could have accomplished their goal, other than selling him into slavery and putting Yaakov Avinu in such a situation for so many years, undergoing such torment and stress. So the Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal explained that the brothers were making a simple cheshbon. They said, Yaakov Avinu is a father. He has 12 children, 12 Shvatim. We're all wonderful children. If we get rid of one of them, we sell him into slavery, all we have to do is get together and put an effort in, and we'll cover up for it. We'll make up for it. There's 11 more of us. We'll all shine in with all of our kaichais and all of our uniqueness and all of our charisma that we each have, and we'll make up for it, we'll cover up for it. There's only 1 out of 12, so he can go unnoticed. Not a big deal. And somebody actually showed me the Orach Chaim. Taka says when Yaakov Avinu was sitting Shiva, he was waiting for Tanchumin. The brothers, it says Vayikumu Kolbanu v'Bneisav L'Nachum Yisrael. Orach Chaim Taka says that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to compensate. We're all going to together be Menachem Yaakov Avinu, and that will make up for the loss of Yosef. But it didn't work. Why didn't it work? It didn't work because they didn't realize that when a father has many children, every single child is a ben yachid. There is no such thing as a crowd and getting lost in a crowd when you have children. Every child has their uniqueness and their kaichais, and a parent derives a certain amount of nachas and pride from each and every child. There's no such thing as making up for it in numbers, in mass. It doesn't work. Every child is a ben yachid. And that's what Yosef was telling. Yehuda was coming to Yosef now, and he was saying, give us back Binyamin, because what's going to be with our father? He needs Binyamin. They were coming to this realization that everyone counts. They could have just said, okay, we'll leave Binyamin there, we'll make up for it. No, they realized, they learned the hard way. They saw that they were not able to make up for it by Yosef, and now he had to bring Binyamin back. So this is what Yosef HaTzadik was telling them, Ani Yosef, Ha'oid Avichai. He didn't say Avinu Chai, our father, or Avichem, your father. He said Ha'oid Avichai is my father, the father, the one that was miyuchid for me, my personal father, the one who cared about me. Is he still alive? No, you killed him long ago. He's been in mourning ever since. That was the mussar that he was telling them. In Hagea to us, I feel that every one of you parents and others, countless others that I've spoken to on the phone, you all share one common feeling, and that is that each child this is your Ben Yachid. I don't know how many other children you might have, but you're 8th grader now, you're looking for the ideal situation to place him in, where he can thrive, where he can steig, where he can bring out his potential and become another mashalim, a ben Torah, a worldly person, a knowledgeable person, a balmidais tevais, a yarei shamayim, everything else that we all are looking for. And I must say that we share that goal as well. The Mesivta definitely shares that goal. Every single Talmud, especially when we're starting out, but even when, in Ritz Hashem, when we become a big Mesivta, Be'ezus Hashem, that's the focus, that's the goal. There is no such thing as another kid, another number, we'll wipe him under the rug, he's too hard to deal with, no such thing. Every single one is a Ben Yachid. And like Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky, I heard B'Shem Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky, he said that nowadays it used to be a Mesivta or a Bismedrash, a yeshiva was there to educate Talmidim, and teach them in learning, teach them Torah. Nowadays, the tachlis, the tafkid of a Mesivta, of a yeshiva, is to be a parent as well. Because many children, I'm sure it doesn't apply to the crowd that's assembled here, but many children don't get what they should be getting from parents. Parents tend to be so busy nowadays with jobs and with whatever else it is. And it's the job of a yeshiva to teach kids, Hoshit, how to be a mensch, manners, how to go to bed, how to wake up, how to brush their teeth. Simple things, besides for learning. Midas Tevais, these are all goals. We pledge Be'ezras Hashem to be able to be nether to give each individual Talmud all of everything, treat him as a Ben Yachid, and to ensure to see that he actually steigs and he becomes what he could become. There was a Maisa where Shiva used to say over with Reb Chaim Oizer in the beginning of World War II, when all the yeshivas went to Vilna, the beginning of the war, and Reb Chaim Oizer single-handedly undertook to sustain them, to raise the funds necessary to give whatever they might need. And there were many remnants of yeshivas. There were half yeshivas, fifth of yeshiva. There were 2 talmidim from this yeshiva in one building, 3 talmidim from a different yeshiva in another building. And as Reb Chaim Oizer was going around, was sending shluchim to go around to collect food, funds to support them, somebody remarked to him, wouldn't it be more cost-effective, efficient if you would have them all in one building, get one big base medrash, you pay one lighting bill, one heating bill, feed them all together. What do you have to have spread out over every place? A little half a yeshiva, 2 talmidim, it doesn't make any sense. So Reb Chaim Oizer told him, he said, there is no such thing as 2 yeshivas that are alike. Every yeshiva has its uniqueness. Every yeshiva is something miyuchad about it, something, a certain flavor. Talmidim come out of that yeshiva with that flavor. If we were to combine all of these yeshivas into one big base medrash, it would become like what America is today, a melting pot, cholent. we would lose the individuality, the feeling, the flavor of each yeshiva. So he said it's worth it to keep them all. 2 Talmidim, 3 Talmidim here, each one has one yeshiva excelled in Musar, and one yeshiva was in Hasmada, and another yeshiva was in Lomdus, in Ian, another yeshiva in Bekias. Each yeshiva, to keep them going, each one, the unique flavor to keep it going, and Baruch Hashem, that persevered, and we have in America now, from those remnants, we have many different yeshivas, each one personifying a different pre-war yeshiva, pre-war attitude of different yeshivas. So we're here tonight. We're not here to compete with other leistas, other mesiftas. I've spoken to many parents. Parents have other options in mind. There are many other yeshivas, many other moistas, many other mesiftas, and every one of them sounds wonderful if you ask me. And I can't, if I would have a son in 8th grade now, I have a son in 7th, if I would have a son in 8th, I would not know exactly where the right place is. Everyone sounds so wonderful here in Passaic, for sure. But all I can say is that there is a definitive flavor, a definitive coming in as an outsider that I was able to perceive in the yeshiva in Carteret. Only came in a couple of years ago, and it hit me the normalcy of the yeshiva, how normal and how down to earth the Rosh Yeshiva and the Talmidim are, and at the same time how high and lofty they are, which is an unusual combination. You don't see that elsewhere. The Rosh Yeshiva, every other year, there's another siyum. What's the siyum on? Shas. Another siyum on Shas. They announced this time it was the 9th siyum on Shas that Rabbi Brown made. I think it was a cover-up. I think 2 times ago they also said it was the 9th. But the Rosh Yeshiva don't like when I speak about this. Mechilas Kvoidam, I think I have Rishus now to say this. But I'm blown away. Usually Rosh Yeshivas are busy running around raising funds and this and that. I come in there for night seder. Sometimes I get there a drop early, not often, but sometimes it happens. I get there a drop early, and I see Rabbi Meir sitting there during supper, sitting in the Beis Medrash, chazering to take a bechina on Shas Be'iyim. It's a ruach that carries over to the Talmidim. And every year there are siyumim. By Pesach time, guys are making a siyum on Masechtas Bava Basra, which is the biggest Masechta in Shas, for the 2nd time. It's an amazing thing. They're constantly Bachrim finishing Kiddushin, chazering old Masechtas, learning round the clock, and at the same time with such a level of normalcy, so down to earth, regular, normal, not into the whole, the thing. They're regular, normal people. It was an eye-opener to me, and I remain astounded and reverence and awe of the Rosh Yeshiva and the Ruach in the Yeshiva. And I think it would be a great thing if we can carry this down to the Mesifta. People have asked me, why are you focusing so much on the Rosh Yeshiva? This is the Mesifta, the Rosh Yeshiva and the Beis Medrash. But it's not like that. It's a small place. It's one building. We'll be davening together. The Rosh Yeshiva will be saying shmuzim, vadim, whatever it is. There'll be a tremendous shaykhis, and I think it will be a great thing for any Mesifta Bacher to be part of this movement. Another point about the Rosh Yeshiva is that they're real, which is uncommon in nowadays for people to be genuine, real, through and through. There's no fake facade, no fluff. Everything is the way it is, which is an amazing. It's something for people who behold that to study from. And the way the Rosh Yeshiva get along together, which is also an unusual thing. I never once saw them arguing, besides for learning. And when they argue and learning, you stay away. But it's a Mayardik of the Ruach, the Siyumim, the celebrations in the Yeshiva, constantly every other day there's something else going on. It's an amazing moment. I'll speak just not to be Marich, but just to tell you a little bit about, we're not going to be hearing from him tonight, but whoever sends their Talmid into the Yeshiva will be hearing from him non-stop. our Maggid Shir, Rabbi Mateshin, Chaim, we go back a long way. When I was looking for a Maggid Shir, I was making a lot of phone calls, interviewing a lot of people. I didn't feel comfortable taking somebody who I didn't know through and through. I wanted to have somebody, I said I'm going to be talking to parents, and I'm going to be trying to sell the Maggid Shir to the parents. It has to be somebody who I'm confident with that he can do the job. And Reb Chaim, I've known him all the way. We went to elementary school together, a little bit younger than me, but he's quality, Sheba quality, top of the line. I'm surprised that he wasn't chapped up yet by any other Lakewood Mossad, but he's genuinely, you'll get to meet him afterwards, you can speak to him, such a warm personality, with such clarity, with such perception, and such warmth. He's unique, he has experience, he's been successful Rebbe in numerous places. The Rosh Yeshiva in the Mir actually told me, the Mir in Flatbush told me, that he gets phone calls from Talmidim who had Reb Chaim the year before. Rebbe, can we have Rabbi Mateshin again this year? He says he never had that before. No Talmud ever called him to say, can we have him again in the summer to be our Rebbe? He never had that before. And that speaks volumes, but I don't need that. I know myself that Reb Chaim is somebody who his goal this year is to teach the boys how to make a laning on a Gemara, how to take apart a Gemara, how to really dissect it and really get into the kishkas of it. Besides for which we would like to focus on Chumash and Halacha. Bikiyas, finishing Masechtas, we'd like to have the boys, like they do in Eretz Yisrael, have a smaller Masechta which they can focus on finishing so they can feel a sense of accomplishment, making a siyum. Nach, to know, not to remain Amaratzim. There's a whole Torah out there, and we're supposed to be getting to know it. So, to educate them, we might hire other Rabbeim who specialize in these subject matters. We'll have to see as time tells. These are all goals of the Masifta. Most importantly, I feel that the uniqueness that's shared by the Hanhala is the passion. We're passionate, we're trying to be, to accomplish what we're setting out to create over here by Ezras Hashem. Like we started off, it's not us, it's all Hashem, trying to be shluchim, to be able to do this. And the tefillah is that we should be matzliach. I would like to introduce our secular studies department chairman, Rabbi Antabi, who is well known, phenomenal, happens to be the international senior lecturer for Eish HaTorah, a published author on many topics in Hashkafa and in Torah and history, very well versed, very respectable person, and he is going to be taking responsibility for the direction of the secular department. And I would like to call upon him to share a few words with you.
Rabbanim. I think I'm the token Sephardi here, so if I say anything you don't understand, please let me know. First, I'd like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Levy for opening up their house to us tonight. Thank you very much. Just a little bit about who I am and what I've done. I am a businessman up until hopefully this summer. I've been in business about 40 years. Being the Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer. I teach business. I teach accounting, I teach public speaking, I teach post-high school. I've been, as Rabbi Roth said, a senior lecturer for Eish HaTorah for over almost 25 years. And I've been in front of the classroom for many, many years. I teach post-high school. For those of you familiar with professional career services of the Aguda, I've been teaching business for about 12 years in Muncie. We haven't yet gotten to Passaic, in Brooklyn, and in Lakewood. Originally, I was going to start speaking about the curriculum, which I think many people are most interested in for the secular side, but I think it's also important to focus first and foremost on what we would like the secular studies to be like. I'm an active board member of, some of you may have heard of Elon High School in Deal, New Jersey. Elon is a high school for girls, one of the board. I've taught there. I've worked with the principals and the board members themselves. And the key to that school is caring. My daughter has been teaching there for about 11 years, and there's a ruach there of the girls, of spirituality, and a desire to learn, and a love of their teachers. And I think that's something that we also want to encourage, even on the secular studies, for the Talmidim, as much as they will treasure the amount of time that they have on learning Limudei Kodesh, also to enjoy and to develop themselves in a nurturing atmosphere and a place where they can get together with their teachers and try and understand their subjects and actually excel in everything that we're going to be teaching them. And I think that is part and parcel of being successful in general studies. It's not so important that we cover the curriculum. As I've told other people, we don't teach curriculum, we teach students. Every student will come in with their own abilities, their own background in what they're strong in, how they learn. Some learn by listening, some by reading, some by seeing, some by doing, and we'll try to cater to each of the students individually based on the way they need to learn. That doesn't mean that everything's going to be lovey-dovey and they don't have to accomplish. I sent Rabbi Roth an article which was published in the Wall Street Journal a number of months ago. It's called Why the Strictest Teachers Get the Best Results. You have to temper love with discipline. And I've been in favor of education for many, many years, which is why I've been teaching for so many years. I think in today's world, in order to succeed in the outside world, many of them will remain as Bnei Torah. Hopefully they'll go on to Kollel and stay in Kollel many, many years. Eventually, they may have to go out into the business world. They have to be prepared, they have to know English, they have to know math, they have to know a little bit about what's going on in America. And the curriculum will meet and or exceed the New Jersey Department of Education standards, which is what we're going to be striving for. The curriculum will mirror what they have at Ner Yisrael, and it's going to be the basic 4 subjects, which will be 3 years of history, which is world history, geography, American History 1 and 2. Those of you smiling who just finished it yourselves, it's it could be formidable. And then there'll be 4 years of English. I think most people speak English, so I'm a little skeptical about why yeshivas need to teach for 4 years, but there will be American literature, composition, English usage. There'll be 3 years of math, the standard math, which is Algebra 1, and Geometry and Algebra 2, and then in science, there'll be biology, earth science, physics, and chemistry. One of the things that you need to know, and we've discussed it with the Rosh Hashivas and with Rabbi Roth, that we are going to be what we call Judeo-centric, meaning when we're teaching biology and we're teaching earth science and we're teaching all about the things that are required in New York State for regions, we will be tempering that and showing it from a Jewish perspective. Certainly from the side of history, we believe that everything that happens in the world is based on the Jewish people. And to go through 2,000 years of history without talking about the Jewish people will be a great disservice to ourselves. So except for possibly learning about the Incas and the Aztecs and the impact of the Jewish cultures on the Central America, we will be bringing in the impact of the Jewish people on the rest of the world and what we've had. Hopefully, we'll also be having a separate Jewish Histories course, both from a Tanakh standpoint as well as from the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash until now. Many people that I've come into contact with believe that right after the destruction of the Second Temple was the Holocaust, and that's Jewish history. There's about 2,000 years in between that we need to cover to show people what Jewish life is all about, what we stand for, what our heritage is. With only 14 different credits that the student needs to take, there are at least opportunities for 2 electives. And as I say, I teach business, I teach accounting, I teach public speaking, and we want to be able to offer to them, as they get into higher grades, 10th, possibly 1 elective, 11th and 12th, to give them additional electives. And that will be based on really the decisions of the students themselves. What is it they want to get into, what their aptitude is, what they feel that they want to concentrate on, to bring in those teachers to teach that, unless I teach that, and help them to excel. The overall goal is to teach the whole student, making sure that everything that they learn comes with a proper Jewish perspective, so they can go out into the business world as a Ben Torah and represent the Jewish people the way they're supposed to. To be respectable, to be respective of others, to have a background, a firm background in English, in math, and science, so that they can deal with the rest of the world, and especially a good business background, again, if the students themselves are up to it, and help them excel in whatever their own talents are to bring out the best of every student. We'd love to have your family join ours. Thank you very much.